My name is Dorothy, and last Saturday was supposed to be the happiest day of my 80th year. I was standing in Rebecca's living room in Billings, Montana, watching my daughter arrange people for a family photograph. My granddaughters, Lily and Emma, stood on the left. My son-in-law James held up his phone, adjusting the angle. Rebecca's sister-in-law Michelle moved closer to the center, laughing about something I couldn't hear. And then Rebecca said it. Not to me. Not even looking at me. She said it to James. Okay, I think we've got everyone who matters. I was 10 feet away, holding the cardigan I'd knitted for Emma's birthday last month, the one she never wore. Nobody called me over. Nobody said, "Wait, where's Mom?" They just smiled, counted to 3, and took the picture. My 80th birthday, and I wasn't in it. I didn't say anything right then. I folded the cardigan over my arm and walked to the kitchen. I poured myself a glass of water I didn't want. My hands were shaking, but I told myself maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they'd take another one. Maybe someone would notice I wasn't there. Nobody did. Let me back up. Let me tell you how I got to that living room, holding a cardigan that cost me 43 hours of knitting and didn't even get a thank you. 32 years ago, Rebecca came to me with a dream. She wanted to be a doctor. Not just any doctor, a pediatric surgeon. She'd wanted it since she was 14, since the day her best friend's little brother went into surgery for a congenital heart defect and came out alive. She said, "Mom, I want to do that. I want to save kids." I was a widow by then. Her father, Tom, had died 2 years earlier. Lung cancer. We had some savings, but not enough for medical school. Not nearly enough. Rebecca got into the University of Washington's School of Medicine. Full tuition was about $40,000 a year back then. 4 years. Plus living expenses, books, equipment. I did the math. I'd need close to $200,000. I sold the house in Missoula, the one Tom and I bought when Rebecca was 3, the one with the garden where she used to catch grasshoppers in mason jars, the one where we painted her bedroom lavender because she said it reminded her of the mountains in spring. I sold it and moved into a 1-bedroom apartment above a hardware store on Main Street. The walls were thin. I could hear the couple next door fighting about money every Thursday night. But Rebecca got her dream. She graduated. She did her residency in Seattle. She met James there. He was in hospital administration. They got married at a vineyard in Walla Walla. I wore a dress I bought at Macy's on clearance and took the Greyhound bus because I couldn't afford the flight. Rebecca and James moved to Billings 5 years ago. He got a job managing operations at a surgical center. She joined a practice. They bought a house, a big house, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a backyard with a playset for the girls. I helped with the down payment. $30,000. It was most of what I had left after paying off my own apartment and covering some dental work I'd been putting off for years. Rebecca said, "Mom, you don't have to do this." I said, "I want to." She said, "We'll pay you back." They never did. I moved to Billings 2 years later. I wanted to be close to my granddaughters. I wanted to see them grow up. I rented a small place on the south side of town, near the refinery. It wasn't much. The heater barely worked in winter, and the landlord took 3 weeks to fix a leaking faucet. But I could see Lily and Emma. I could babysit. I could be grandma. For the first year, I saw them every week. Rebecca would drop them off on Saturdays while she and James went to farmers markets or brunches or couples yoga, or whatever it was they did. I'd make the girls pancakes. We'd play board games. I taught Lily how to braid hair. I read Emma every book in the library's picture book section twice. Then Rebecca started a new schedule at the hospital. Longer shifts, more surgeries. She said she needed help with the girls during the week too. Could I pick them up from school on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Could I keep them until 6? I said yes. Then it was Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Then it was weekends too because James had a golf tournament or Rebecca had a conference. I didn't mind. I loved my granddaughters. I loved hearing about their days, helping with homework, making them snacks. But I started noticing things. When I dropped the girls off at Rebecca's house, she'd barely look up from her phone. "Thanks, Mom," she'd say, already halfway to the kitchen. "No, how are you? No, do you want to stay for dinner?" On Lily's 9th birthday, I made a cake. German chocolate, Rebecca's favorite when she was young. I brought it over to the party. Rebecca glanced at it and said, "Oh, We already ordered one from the bakery. She put my cake on the counter, and I saw it there 3 hours later when I left, untouched. When Emma started kindergarten, Rebecca asked if I could pay for her dance classes. Just for a few months, Mom, until we get caught up. I paid for 6 months, then a year, then 2 years. I never saw a thank you card. I never got paid back. Last Christmas, I saved up for months to buy the girls matching necklaces, little silver hearts with their initials. They opened them on Christmas morning at Rebecca's house and said, "Cool, thanks, Grandma," and then went back to playing with the iPad James bought them. I found one of the necklaces in the bathroom trash the next week when I came over to watch the girls. But I kept showing up. I kept helping. Because that's what you do. That's what mothers do. 3 months ago, Rebecca called me on a Wednesday night. She sounded stressed. "Mom, I need to ask you something," I said. "What is it, honey?" She said, "James and I are planning a trip to Cabo in April. It's our 15th anniversary. Can you watch the girls for the week?" I said, "Of course." She said, "Great. Also, would you be able to help with the cost? The resort is a little more than we budgeted." I paused. I'd just paid my rent. I had $400 in my checking account until my Social Security came through. I said, "How much do you need?" She said, "Maybe 1,000? I sent her 1,200. I figured they'd need spending money. They went to Cabo. They posted pictures on Facebook, sunsets, margaritas, a couple's massage on the beach. I watched Lily and Emma for 8 days. I made them breakfast, packed their lunches, helped with science projects, drove them to soccer practice and piano lessons. When Rebecca got back, she texted me, "Thanks for watching the girls, Mom. We had the best time." That was it. No mention of the money. No, how can we repay you? No invitation to come over and hear about the trip. 2 weeks ago, Rebecca called and said, "Mom, we're throwing you a birthday party. 80 is a big deal." I felt my chest warm. Finally. They were thinking of me. She said, "It'll be at our place. Next Saturday at 2, just family, low-key." I said, "That sounds wonderful, honey." She said, "Can you bring a side dish? Maybe your potato salad?" I almost laughed. My own birthday party, and I was being asked to bring food. I said, "Sure, Rebecca. I'll bring potato salad." I spent the week getting ready. I bought a new blouse at Target, nothing fancy. $23. I got my hair done at the salon for the first time in 6 months. I made the potato salad the night before. I even baked a lemon cake, Rebecca's favorite, thinking maybe it would remind her of when she was little. Saturday came. I drove to Rebecca's house with the potato salad in one hand and the cake in the other. I parked on the street because the driveway was full. I recognized James's truck, Rebecca's sister-in-law's minivan, and a car I didn't know. I walked up to the front door and knocked. James opened it. He looked surprised. "Oh, Dorothy, hey." I said, "Hi, James, happy to be here." He said, "Yeah, come in. We're just, setting up." I stepped inside. The house smelled like roasted chicken and rosemary. There were balloons in the living room, a banner that said "Happy Birthday." I felt a small surge of warmth. They did care. Then I saw the table. There were place settings for 8 people. I counted. Rebecca, James, Lily, Emma, Michelle, Michelle's husband Derek, and 2 I didn't recognize. Maybe friends of James. I said, "Where should I sit?" Rebecca turned from the kitchen. She looked flustered. "Oh, Mom, you're early." I checked my phone. It was 1:58. I said, "You said 2 o'clock." She said, "Right. Yeah, just put the potato salad on the counter." I put it down next to a store-bought veggie tray and a charcuterie board that probably cost $60. Rebecca didn't say thank you. She didn't say happy birthday. She said, "We're taking a family photo before we eat. Everyone, gather in the living room." I stood near the fireplace. I waited, and that's when it happened. Rebecca arranged everyone, Lily and Emma on the left, James with his phone, Michelle moving to the center, and Rebecca saying, "Okay, I think we've got everyone who matters." They took the picture. I wasn't in it. I stood there, holding Emma's cardigan, watching them laugh and adjust and take another one, and another. And nobody looked at me. I walked to the kitchen. My throat felt tight, I thought maybe I'd cry, but I didn't. I just felt empty. Dinner started 20 minutes later. I sat at the far end of the table, next to Derek, who spent the entire meal talking to James about fantasy football. Nobody asked me how I was. Nobody said happy birthday. Rebecca brought out a cake. Not the lemon cake I made, a vanilla sheet cake from Costco with happy 80th written in blue icing. They sang happy birthday. It felt like they were singing to someone else. After dinner, Rebecca handed me a card. It was from a drugstore. The front said, "To a special mom," with a picture of daisies. Inside, James had signed his name. That was it. No message. Just James. Rebecca hadn't even signed it. I left at 6. Nobody walked me to the door. I carried my lemon cake back to the car, untouched. That night, I sat in my apartment and did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not because of the cake or the photo or the card, but because I realized something I'd been avoiding for a long time. I didn't matter to them. I was useful. I was the babysitter, the checkbook, the backup plan when they needed help. But I didn't matter. On Monday, I called my lawyer. His name is Ed. We went to high school together back in Missoula. He moved to Billings around the same time I did. I'd helped him with his will a few years back when his wife passed. I said, "Ed, I need to change my will." He said, "Okay, Dorothy, what are we changing?" I said, "Everything." My will had left everything to Rebecca. The savings I had left, my life insurance policy, a few pieces of jewelry from my mother. It wasn't much, maybe $40,000 total, but it was something. I told Ed to change it. I left $5,000 to Lily and Emma to be held in trust until they turned 25. The rest, I donated. Half to the Children's Hospital in Seattle, where Rebecca did her residency. Half to a scholarship fund for single mothers pursuing medical degrees. Ed said, "Are you sure about this, Dorothy?" I said, "I've never been more sure of anything." He said, "You don't want to talk to Rebecca first?" I said, "What would I say?" He drafted the new will. I signed it on Wednesday. On Thursday, I started packing. I didn't tell Rebecca I was leaving. I didn't tell anyone. I called the landlord and gave notice. I found a small apartment in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's near a lake. The rent is cheaper. There's a senior center 2 blocks away that offers painting classes on Tuesdays. I packed my things into boxes. I hired movers for the furniture. I sold what I didn't need. On my last Saturday in Billings, I drove to Rebecca's house one more time. I didn't go inside. I left an envelope in the mailbox. Inside was a letter. I'd written it the night before. It said, "Rebecca, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I've moved to Idaho. I won't be coming back to Billings. I need you to understand something. For 32 years, I gave you everything I had. I sold my home so you could go to medical school. I gave you money for your house, your trips, your children's activities. I spent hundreds of hours watching Lily and Emma, not because you asked nicely, but because you expected it. And somewhere along the way, I stopped being your mother. I became your convenience. Last Saturday, on my 80th birthday, you didn't include me in the family photo. You didn't say happy birthday until someone reminded you. You handed me a card your husband signed, and you didn't even bother to write your name. I don't blame you entirely. I taught you that I would always be there, no matter how you treated me. I taught you that my love came with no conditions, no boundaries, no expectations of respect. I was wrong. I've changed my will. You won't be inheriting anything. The money will go to people who need it more than you do. Lily and Emma will get something when they're older. But you won't. This isn't about punishment. It's about recognizing the truth. You don't need me, Rebecca. You need my help. And I'm done giving it. I hope one day you'll understand the difference between being loved and being used. I hope one day you'll look at your daughters and realize what it means to sacrifice for someone, only to be forgotten. I hope you'll be a better mother to them than you were a daughter to me. I won't be answering your calls. I won't be coming back. Take care of yourself. Mom. I drove away from Billings that afternoon. I didn't look back. Rebecca called me 3 times that night. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. The first one was confused. "Mom, what is this letter? What are you talking about?" The second one was angry. "You can't just leave. What about the girls? Who's going to watch them?" The third one was desperate. Mom, please call me. We need to talk about this. You're overreacting. I deleted them all. 2 weeks later, I got a text from James. It said, Dorothy, Rebecca is very upset. You need to reconsider this. It's not fair to the girls. I wrote back, what's not fair is asking me to raise your children while you take vacations I paid for. What's not fair is leaving me out of family photos on my own birthday. Don't talk to me about fairness. He didn't respond. A month later, I got a call from Ed. He said, Dorothy, Rebecca contacted me. She wants to contest the will. I said, on what grounds? He said, she's claiming undue influence. She thinks someone convinced you to change it. I laughed. It was the first time I'd laughed in weeks. I said, the only person who influenced me was Rebecca. Ed said, I'll handle it. Don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm free. I've been in Coeur d'Alene for 2 months now. I joined the painting class at the senior center. I'm terrible at it, but I don't care. I met a woman named Paula, who's also a widow. We have coffee on Thursdays and talk about books and gardening and nothing important. I take walks by the lake in the mornings. I watch the sunrise. I eat dinner at 5:30 because I want to, not because I have to pick. I sleep well now. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Lily. She's 11 now. The envelope had a drawing of a flower on it. Inside, she wrote, Dear Grandma, Mom says you moved away. I miss you. Why didn't you say goodbye? I wanted to show you my science project. I got an A. Love, Lily. I cried when I read it. Not because I regretted leaving, but because I realized Lily didn't know. She didn't know why I left. She didn't know her mother never said thank you, never included me, never saw me as anything more than free labor. She just knew I was gone. I wrote her back. I said, Dear Lily, I'm so proud of you for your science project. You've always been so smart. I didn't say goodbye because it was too hard. But I want you to know something. I love you. I always will. And when you're older, I hope you'll understand why I had to leave. Your mom and I had some grown-up problems that we couldn't fix. It wasn't your fault. It was never your fault. I'm in Idaho now, near a beautiful lake. Maybe one day, when you're a little older, you can come visit me. We can walk by the water and I'll teach you how to skip stones. I miss you too, sweetheart. Love, Grandma Dorothy. I don't know if Rebecca will let Lily visit. I don't know if I'll ever see my granddaughters again. But I know this. I was the foundation of that family. I held them up when they couldn't stand on their own. I gave them everything. And the moment I stopped giving, they didn't know what to do with me. That's not love. That's dependency. So I left. I chose myself. For the first time in 32 years, I chose myself. And if that makes me selfish, if that makes me a bad mother, so be it. I'd rather be selfish and whole than generous and empty. I'm 80 years old. I don't know how many years I have left, but whatever time I have, I'm going to spend it on people who see me, who value me, who don't just call when they need something. I'm going to spend it on myself, and I'm not sorry. Not anymore.